Tensions along the Pakistan and Afghanistan border have escalated sharply after reports of Pakistani missile strikes in Afghanistan's eastern Kunar province, which reports claim resulted in at least 3 deaths and around 45 injuries. Notably, the strikes are said to have hit multiple locations, including areas in and around Asadabad, the provincial capital of Kunar. Among the impacted sites was the Faculty of Education at Syed Jamaluddin Afghan University, which sustained damage along with several nearby villages and residential areas. The reports have raised serious concerns about civilian casualties and damage to public infrastructure in the region. Although Taliban military positions are known to exist in areas surrounding Asadabad, there has been no confirmation that any of those sites were directly targeted in the strikes. And so far, neither the Taliban authorities in Afghanistan nor officials in Pakistan have issued an official statement confirming or denying responsibility for the reported missile attacks, leaving the situation clouded in uncertainty. Well, the incident comes amid a broader and increasingly dangerous escalation in cross-border hostilities along the Durand line. Over the recent weeks, clashes between Taliban forces and Pakistani troops have intensified, particularly in southern Afghanistan. And since late Sunday, at least 2 rounds of fighting have reportedly taken place in the Spin-Boldak district of Kandahar province, according to the local accounts. And all these renewed clashes highlight the fragile security environment along one of region's most sensitive borders. And the current wave of violence follows diplomatic talks held in China earlier this month, where representatives from both the sides attempted to ease rising tensions. However, those discussions ended without any clear agreement or breakthrough, leaving key disputes unresolved and the security situation unchanged. The failure of diplomacy appears to have been followed by a return to a military escalation on the ground. And the ongoing conflict is part of a longer pattern of hostilities that have persisted for more than 2 months. Pakistan has repeatedly accused militant groups, particularly the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP, of operating from Afghan territory and launching attacks inside Pakistan. The Taliban government has consistently denied all these allegations, insisting that Afghanistan's soil is not being used by any group to carry out attacks against other countries. Although the intensity of fighting have reportedly decreased in recent days, and the latest missile strikes and renewed clashes suggest that the situation remains highly volatile. Well, in addition to the reported attacks in Kunar, Afghanistan's Ministry of Defense has claimed that retaliatory operations were launched against Pakistani positions in the Spin-Boldak sector, resulting in the deaths of 6 Pakistani soldiers. Well, all these claims have not yet been independently verified by outside sources, and the United Nations has expressed concern over the rising civilian toll. And according to UN figures, more than 70 civilians were killed in eastern Afghanistan during the first 2 weeks of the recent clashes. And in one of the deadliest reported incidents, Pakistani airstrikes on March 16 allegedly struck a rehabilitation center known as Omid in eastern Kabul, killing 269 people, according to the UN reporting. Well, all these figures highlight the seriousness of the humanitarian impact of the ongoing conflict, and the residents living in border areas have described repeated shelling, airstrikes and drone activity, which have forced many families to flee their homes during periods of intense fighting. And the violence has also caused widespread damage to houses, schools and critical infrastructure, further worsening conditions in already vulnerable communities that are struggling with economic hardship and instability. Well, as both the sides continue to trade accusations over responsibility for civilian harm, Afghanistan has accused Pakistan of targeting civilian areas, including educational institutions, while Pakistan maintains that its actions are aimed at countering cross-border militancy. Meanwhile, the Taliban leadership has warned that it reserves the right to respond at a time and place of its choosing. And with diplomatic efforts failing to produce lasting results and tensions continuing to rise, concerns are growing that ongoing clashes along the border could further destabilize the region. And there are increasing fears that if the situation continues to escalate, it could expand beyond localized fighting into a wider regional confrontation with serious security implications for both the countries and the surrounding region. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment and subscribe to the channel.